Greetings, welcome to Business Chronicles. My name is Solomon Tumwesigye. I'm your host here at Business Chronicles, which is hosted at Studio 84. Studio 84 is a podcast studio set up here in Bugolobi along Lithuli Avenue, set up to facilitate individuals and organizations tell their stories and along the way position themselves as authorities at what they do, because we believe that everyone has a story to tell and is an authority at something. Today I am first of all, how it works is you hit us up on the contact popping up at the bottom, and we engage you to see where you're at on your journey to create your own content. And from developing the concept to production to posting and maintaining your socials, we got you. Today I am honored and privileged to host a good friend of mine, known her a couple of years. I don't know whether I am allowed to call her a land friend. Are we allowed to call you land friends when we are not land?
Yes, of course.
Oh, you're the one who is land, eh?
Please enjoy yourself.
You're land, I am the friend. Allen Kagoya is lawyer, but she is a special one because for the past couple of years, her and her partner, Damali at Tara Advocates, have decided, she'll correct me if I'm wrong, to focus and eat this elephant called estate planning one bite at a time. And we are going to talk about mainly estate planning and why it is worth talking about, so to say. So without spoiling it, Allen, I'm going to give you an opportunity, like all my guests, to introduce yourself the best way you like to be known, and then we take it on. Allen.
Okay. So my name is Allen. I like to be, or I love being called Auntie A, because I'm those super aunties, but I'm also a love of people. What is that? You didn't know that about me?
Auntie A?
Auntie A, yes.
Wow.
I'm a cool auntie, but I'm also a love of people.
Yeah.
And because of that, I connect with people deeply and I carry people's loads. So as a land friend, when I'm carrying someone's load, it becomes like a personal load. But what you said is accurate. And where this started from, so from the onset, I mean, we're a commercial law firm, and so we support businesses. It's very easy for you to come to me and you say, oh, Studio 84 has these issues and I'm going to sort them.
Yeah.
But the realization that there is an individual behind every business, they are human beings that need to be supported, is what became apparent to us in the early years of Tara Advocates. And so even as we are offering support to the business and guiding business owners through whatever they are doing, it became clear that even the business owners themselves need to be supported. And so it started off by just one-offs. We would have engagements. I mean, you walk in as a client. We'll talk about several other things beyond just the business. But the real nail in the coffin, or the last nail in the coffin, was hit when I can say a big client of ours, and you knew him, Joseph, abruptly dies. And Joseph was an organized man. So I will tell you the number of meetings we had with him, and he never left his wife behind. So Joseph would come with his wife. He seemed like he had this whole thing to do with life, structured out and planned out and well planned out. And then Joseph dies. Of course, we receive a phone call to ask us whether we have a will, and we said no, we didn't have one. And so they look around through, because he had a number of friends, they look around and they realize he actually didn't have a will. But I will tell you that we have been walking the journey with Phoebe since then, and it's not been an easy journey, because there were certain things Joseph knew how to deal with in his lifetime. He had relationships he had built with banks. He had relationships he had built maybe with even government officials that helped him manage that business, because the way it was prospering at a fast rate. I mean, we're his lawyers, so we
Yes,
knew.
you knew.
And now how it's playing out, and the loads and everything Phoebe has had to deal with, that then became even more clear that we needed to do something about this. And so we deliberately went out and spoke to different organizations from MTN, Airtel, IDA, Petroleum Authority of Uganda. But again, because that's dependent on them opening the window for us, we are like, how do we do this on a scale that we are comfortable with, but also just enlighten people about it? And so that's how the symposium began. And so we had a very successful one last year, and we are having one this year, July 16th. And we're super excited because in that room, you have different people, and different people pick on different things. And the stories are very different. For example, you will have a son telling a story about how he's had to deal with either loss or just taking over from a parent. And then you have the parent's perspective. And I'm telling you, that's also very crucial, because even for the parents that have had to pass on the baton in their lifetime, it's always a tricky place, because I'm the vision bearer. If I feel like the child is not signing up and, is not as excited about this vision, there's always, are they ready? Are they the right person? How come you don't appreciate me? And yet the child also has a different view of, we want to take this into another dimension, a new direction. Yes, you had a big dream, but we want to make it grand, more grand than what you had. And so just having those conversations. And so after the last symposium, we've had several engagements with different family businesses, and we realized that the dynamics and the issues totally different. And so this shall not stop. We will have the symposium because we believe the stories are very dynamic and everyone will pick on from, if one person is not speaking your language, we trust that the other person will. Yes.
Allen, I already have many questions from the intro. One is, you mentioned that our fallen friend Joseph was in business with his wife Phoebe. And they came for meetings together. They did everything together. He passes away. Shouldn't it be common sense that Phoebe is in charge, even without a will? Common sense. What does the law say?
So the law and common sense are not usually aligned all the time, and for many people they will be shocked at what the law has to say. And so when you die without a will, we get into what we call intestate succession, which is what the law has laid down. And the law says, if this person didn't leave a will, we are going to pull up his chunk into a basket of 100% of whatever he had, assets, liabilities, and everything, put them there. And then, of course, out of that, we will pay 75% of whatever we have in that pool to his children. So in this case, imagine whether they are Phoebe's children or not, they take out of the 75%. So they don't have to be
regardless of what they contributed, how involved they were in the family.
As long as they are his children, they're entitled to that 75%. And then the other thing is adopted children. They're also entitled to that 75%. So after 75% is when we come to the 20%, where Phoebe takes a portion of that. Now, in this case, Joseph had one wife, but imagine Joseph had several wives. And we had been in touch.
Or some unknown children and things like that.
Then you will have to share. So if there are 3 or 4 of them, they share in the 20%. Then all beneficiaries take 4%. And then we have the heir taking 1%. And so the dynamics...
An extra 1% after sharing the 75.
Yes, an extra 1%. So the dynamics are always in... there is this beneficiary who was very close to the family. Maybe they're even in school. They're at the university. They have to pay. But the 4% is being shared maybe amongst 100 people who are all claiming, he used to take care of us. And all they have to get is a portion of that 4%. And so, yes, even if common sense would say Phoebe should automatically take, because these things belong to Joseph, Phoebe is only entitled to 20% because there was no will in this case.
So, like someone once mentioned, whether you write a will or you don't, you have a will. It is either your will or the government's will.
I like that. Yeah. So you choose who you give the power to. Either you retain it or give it
or you
to
hand it the government or
yes.
whatever.
Yes.
I would definitely come back to that one because, man, it's a bit disturbing. But you also mentioned that we work, grow this business, grow this empire and all, but typically parents hesitate to pass on to their children because they are not yet 100% sure that the children have are in 100%.
Yes.
But Allen, let's face it, we are all individuals. Remember how whether you worked together, but man is an individual and the wife is an individual.
Yes.
And the children also have their own life. They have their vision. They have their everything. Isn't that practically unrealistic to expect that they will carry on with your vision? And then what happens to their individuality?
Yeah.
Or are those the issues now you deal with?
Yeah. So that's exactly what we deal with. Because again, you have to realize, so automatically, if I passed on without a will, it would be assumed that somehow his family is supposed to figure out whatever he had in mind and to run with it exactly the way he had maybe planned it out or imagined it, which doesn't play out like that. But I like that you raised the fact that, I mean, we are all individuals and we are different people. And so we've had several engagements with people and just the realization of, I have 5 children. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
There are instances where the heir will not be the person running the business. But also we've seen instances where through estate planning, you're sure that my children are more artistic and I'm on the science side of things. And so as opposed to pulling them into this, can I get the right people to run this business? Because again, even as I'm running a business, there are people I'm employing. They're not my children. They may not even be my relatives. But they are there and I'm mentoring them on a daily or we are learning from each other. And so even when, I mean, after a while, I'm able to tell, does X person, buy into the vision? Do they know exactly what I do? Can they walk into a meeting and sell Tara exactly the way I would sell it? And if they can, why would I drag my ex-child into this if I have someone that I've mentored and worked? And so estate planning is not essentially this is how the next generation is going. Like the children don't have to fit in squarely.
No.
That they have to get into the business. It is me planning because along the way, I'm engaging them and I'm learning my children and I'm opening them up to see what I'm doing. And so I'm able to determine to say this child maybe is more interested than the others. Let them start the journey with me. But if I realize that all of them are not, still I can have a plan where my children benefit and they don't necessarily have to participate in the running of the business. But for many of us, when we are planning out, we are thinking, and I will tell you that from so many engagements, the parents are very frustrated. Parents get frustrated because they're thinking, how do I grow this baby to this level, and you people are not able to see it. But I mean, we are different people, so they don't have to see it that way. But also, at what stage are you engaging them into this business? You're bringing them in after I have finished my degree. I have visions and dreams that are separate. Yes, but I will also tell you that even for the ones that have engaged the children at an early stage, the way children learn from what you do more than what you say.
Yes.
So you are coming home and saying, oh, this business is terrible. I'm frustrated.
And now you have to leave them with terrible.
Exactly. And the child is just underlining that. They may not even ask questions, but they listen and take it in. Then after a while, you're like, I never have money. You are complaining about this business, but you imagine that this child is envisioning themselves as you, and somehow they are going to buy into your dream. No, you have pushed them away without necessarily pushing them, necessarily telling them that I'm pushing you away. And so you get to a point where you realize I'm no longer strong enough to run this business. I need Solomon to take over. But Solomon is so like they have watched you, and there is no passion, there is no desire to be like you. They are thinking everything, I will do everything else, but I will not be my father,
Daddy, can we have pizza? No, I don't have money.
Exactly.
But you've been away all weekend.
And you've been working.
Now I see why you're the coolest auntie. Now I see why you're the coolest auntie, Allen.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah.
After this, I'm hesitant to tell my children I don't have money.
Yes, you have to know that if my desire is that my children take over, every day I have to invest in that. And that's what estate planning is about. We keep telling people we are not talking death. We are talking planning for continuity, for legacy, that my name will be remembered even 50 years down the road. Like, I need to just entice them into loving this thing as opposed to pushing it down their throats. And I'll also tell you that the different generations have different traits.
Yeah.
So our generation, you could easily push a child into doing things.
Yeah.
There was a level of respect that bordered fear. Yeah. So if your father said, you have to, you had to.
I mean, many of us from our generation studied courses because our parents said.
Exactly. Now you have children who speak their minds, not because they don't respect you, but they are very open-minded. They've seen the world even from their little rooms. Yeah. And so it will be very hard for you to just say, you know what, just because I've said it, you will come to the office. But you will not find them there. So
and there's nothing you can do about it.
And they're your child, you love them still.
But Allen, I'm very I'm very passionate about this topic because I've been blessed to have gone through an estate planning situation.
Don't we all?
15 years ago, thereabout.
Or the lack of it.
Yeah. We have talked about writing a will as part of the planning. But when I write a will, my lawyer has a copy. And how many other people need to have copies?
Well, you determine, but we always advise that you have 3 copies around.
You have 3 copies?
Yeah. And why we do that, because for many people, it's been a conversation of, but my friend wrote a will and they went to court and that will was discarded. It's because you have 1 copy. So even when that will is subjected to determination of court of whether it is a genuine one, we only have 1 copy. And and it's been pulled up from maybe a suitcase and it's looking terrible and faint. So that's why we advise to have several copies, so that just in case anyone is putting an application to say, oh, this is not his last will and testament, there are other copies to corroborate and confirm that that's actually your will.
Here is my situation. Our parents and their parents used to live in communities and, family, friends together and all that. But as we've moved on, the generations ongoing, we are all in our little worlds. Our houses are fenced. You don't know your neighbors upstairs, downstairs. If you live in an apartment block, you don't know your neighbors next door. Even when you have a WhatsApp group, you only come to fund money to fix the road or something. What if I don't have the 3 people? I mean, I've lost touch with my siblings and all that stuff. What if it's just you and I, you and the lawyer?
Yes.
What happens? Does it make it null and void, or how do I go about it? What if I don't have people I can trust with my will? Or what if the people I trusted with my will tampered with it? Those things. How do you navigate that?
Okay, so estate planning is not about will writing. A will could be an element of it, but it's not about will writing. And ordinarily, if you were walking a journey with a group of experts, you're going to have a wholesome conversation. It will just not be about, what do you have? How do you distribute it?
Experts.
Experts.
Not just my lawyer.
Not just your lawyer. Yeah, so you have different experts, and even when you come to Tara, we work with different experts, and but also it's a conversation that is very wholesome. So if I am writing my will today, I need to know who are the people I'm putting in my will and why am I putting them in my will.
Yes.
And so even for the people that are having it hard to appoint the executor,
Yes.
at that point you realize I have 1,000 friends, but out of the 1,000 there is no one.
Yeah.
And so at that point we are walking the journey with you to say, now can you be more intentional? Because the same way you think out of your 1,000 there is no one, even your friends has a group of 1,000 where you are and there is no one. Yeah, so it's intentional living, because again you are planning and you're the primary player in this plan. So how you relate with your surrounding, how you relate even with your children, who you're going to, is a part of it. Because I will tell you, for example, someone was sharing recently and saying under their will, under their father's will, he left them all this property and said, do not sell. Now,
yes,
I will tell you that.
Don't we all don't want them to sell?
But yet I will tell you that under the law, a will is supposed to distribute. And when you distribute, that person should be able to use that property in whichever way they want. So you cannot be giving me orders not to sell or not to...
when you're long gone.
When you're long gone. But that is another story. But the way she was sharing this story with passion and saying, every time I look at that property, and I know my father told me not to sell. Now, that is because of the relationship she had with her father. If it were to be another person who didn't have that deep connection with the father, most likely that property would be long sold, would have been sold a long time ago. And so, because estate planning, all these things are supposed to play out after you're gone, you start living your life in a way that enables that whatever happens after you're gone is exactly how. So you relate differently. And when you start relating differently, you will have the right executors. But just in case we are at the point where you realize I'm not going to get these executors, we still have a number of bodies that we work with. We have insurance companies. We have all these people that come into play to say, you can give us maybe a certain portfolio of your property. Yeah. So you may retain the land and then have the land under the will and distribute that. But you say, for my financial assets or, unit trusts and all those, let them go under a certain entity and a corporate entity that runs with them for years to come.
Yeah.
And so your children and your children's children are able to pick from that. And that's why we keep telling people, even while we're having this conversation, there is no copy paste. You cannot say, Allen, send me a template of a will. Because even if I send it to you, a will is supposed to be a living document, Solomon. So I send you this document of someone who had no intentions of maintaining a legacy.
Yeah.
They were just about distribution, and it ends there. So I will send you that template and you use it. But yet, your intention is that even 50 years after I'm gone, I need my name to be remembered. I need my effect and what my footprint on this earth to be felt. And so it is a thing of, we sit down, talk about it. Is it a will that you really need? Is it a trust? Yeah. So again, for many people, every time it's estate planning, they think it's a will. It's beyond that. For many people, we will advise on trust. And for those that we've walked the journey with, even when someone walks in and says, I want a will, by the time we are done with the conversation, they say, no, register trust.
Yeah.
Register trust and some other maybe documents.
What is a trust, in short?
So a trust is, I will say, a tripartite agreement. Tri meaning three people.
Three parties, yes.
Three parties. So we have you, who's the maker of the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. You, and then we have the trustees that you appoint. That's like a board of directors. For example, if you're running a company and you have a board of directors, the trustees are like your board of directors. And then you have the beneficiaries on the other side. And so it starts with a trust deed, which crafts out whatever you desire in whichever form. And so you can say, you guys, the trustees, run with all these assets that I've given you, and every year maybe pay out a certain percentage, or every 2 years, or when my children are at university, or when they're getting married, those children that we used to admire who had so much money at their disposal. It's because their parents had done things like that.
Yeah.
And so
hence planned kids.
Planned kids, yes. And so when the trust deed is done, then we go into the process of registering it and ensuring. Yeah, but the beauty with trust is you can have it during your lifetime.
Yeah.
But you can also incorporate it in your will to say these properties, as opposed to being distributed, let them pass into a trust, and that continues. And we always advise that you try it out in your lifetime. So even when you remember that list of 1,000 people that you don't trust, if I'm able to appoint them in my lifetime, I can easily change. Yeah, because I have the powers to change the trust deed. I'm like, okay, yes, you've been doing this for 2 years. With the way we are moving, I don't see it moving the way I want it to. So you guys step aside, let me appoint others. Or as opposed to the 3 of you, let me retain 2 who I feel I can trust, and then add another person. So it gives you at least that the power to test the waters even before, and you're able to see how it will run even when you're not here.
So when it's running while you leave, they know.
Yes.
As opposed to them being shocked into the role when you have gone.
When you have gone, true.
Yeah,
you're there to guide, and also they're able to pick your mind, because sometimes we document things, and when you read the document, if you're angry, you'll feel a certain way. If you're happy, you're like, okay, this was well written. So we prefer that you walk that journey with them in your lifetime, so they're able to actually study you and know exactly what you want, as opposed to just reading this deed upon death, and we don't really appreciate what your intentions are.
Yeah, going back to what you mentioned in the beginning about what the law says, split in percentages and all, my mind went to, how do you split in percentages? Then I remembered what a very good friend of mine, very good old friend of mine, he's a very good lawyer, told me after my father passed away, and we're all in that whole
sharing.
Yes. And we are all emotional, Daddy didn't want us to sell and all. And he said, but I was with my little brother, the law is clear.
Yeah.
That when a person passes, ideally, the law is like, get everything, put it in one basket. If you can, sell it off and split cash money and walk. I looked at him. I said, how can... in my time, how can you possibly say that to me, knowing what you know about us and the family?
Yeah.
But later, I really, really appreciated his raw, candid truth of it is what it is. When a person dies, they die. Especially when they die intestate. It means, like you say...
brings an end, there should be...
Yes, a proper end. And now... we move on. Allen, let's talk about you mentioned a group of professionals. Who are these professionals? Because many of us know that I just need to find a lawyer, write a will. But even before that, Allen, if I'm on my deathbed, God forbid, I don't have a will, I've had an accident, I know I'm going, can't I just send you a WhatsApp? Or write something, or record a voice note. Does that hold water?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because again, I will tell you that for a will to be valid, you are supposed to be in the right frame of mind. So if we feel like you are under some form of pressure, or that will not be a valid will. But also a will has to be written. So when you send that voice note, clearly it will end up as a voice note. The only way it plays out is maybe if other people believe that is you, and when we go to court, even during the distribution, we say,
we respect your last words.
Yes, we are we are tendering this as evidence to say this is what the gentleman wanted. So even as they will be guided by the law, that could guide, but there is no guarantee.
They are not bound by it.
They are not bound by it, so it won't hold water. And so, but it's just that I mean, the realization of, for me to make a valid will, what are the things that have to be there? Because again, I will take my time. I will be maybe ailing and I'm thinking, I need to do this to seal up but it may not hold water. So we have to do it now
properly.
when we can, so that there are no people.
Like it says, yes. I am of sound mind.
I am of sound mind, and I understand everything that I'm saying in here. But also, you raise the issue of ailing, because during that period, yes, you are able to send a voice note, but you're not able to go to the bank to say withdraw money to take care of your medical bills. And so for estate planning, we talk about incapacitation, not just death. So even for scenarios like that, where I'm sick, on my sick bed, and I'm unable, can my plan come into play? And so a will only comes into play after death. So there is a document that we call a power of attorney, an enduring one, where you're able to say, oh, I'm appointing my friend Solomon to be my attorney during the period.
I see you.
Exactly. I cannot, make decisions for myself. And so with that document, yes, Solomon is able to go to the bank to withdraw money and pay for my bills, which would not be the case because, you'll be a stranger to the bank. Even if you went with my photograph to say, but this is Allen and they are sick, the bank cannot release money to...
Even my wife can't.
Even your wife, and it's interesting because people keep saying, but I put my spouse as the next of kin. Yeah. And so you just have to know that what the bank can do with your next of kin is limited in certain aspects. So as I can't get a hold of you, or you've not been drawing this account or dealing with this account for a while, we'll call your next of kin. Yeah, your next of kin can give us information about your death or your sickness, or as to whether we can get money out of that account and give it to your next of kin is something different. Yeah,
you then have that aspect, the power of attorney aspect, as almost a standard when someone comes to you to write a will.
Yes, but even then, I will tell you that the conversations are very dynamic. Okay. So we've had instances where we have the conversation and the person is able to see it and they're like, yes, let's start with that even before we get into the will. Because, everyone needs it. But there are instances where the person says, everything goes into a trust, a living trust. Good for you. Because remember, again, the trustees are running it during your lifetime, so they can be able to draw money and pay for whatever needs that you have as a beneficiary, even if you're the maker of that trust. So that's different. But it's not as, you see, like how for you it popped up easily to say, oh, everyone needs it. It's not as easy as that. Yeah, so usually you're having the conversations, but also remember you're appointing someone. So there is a Solomon here who has a wife and a brother and a cousin who's very close. And so Solomon is wondering, okay, so who? Yeah? And which takes us back again to that list of, if you have not deliberately been engaging or dealing with these relationships in a way.
Lived in a way that...
then, I could appoint, the guy will go draw my money. And next thing he's spending it, and you're still in hospital, and you don't have the medical. Your medical bills are not cleared. So it's an intentional way of living, and that's what we are talking about.
The professionals.
Yes. Oh, so you had mentioned about even at Tara, we realize, yes, we can give you the legal solutions. But beyond the legal solutions, there are so many aspects surrounding estate planning. We've had so many myths. We've had cultural norms where people say, when you write a will, you are packing your bags to leave. Yeah, you will die. And which is not the case, of course.
I know that feeling.
But I'm telling you, it's not true, because whether you have one or you don't have one,
you're going anytime
we
now.
are all headed the same direction. Yeah, but I will tell you that, so it became very clear to us that we needed a group of professionals beyond. I will tell you also that when it comes to, you tell someone you need to write a will and they tell you, but what do I have? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so we then start walking the journey, because you are 30 and you're saying, what do I have? There should be something. So if you have nothing to put under that will to distribute, of course, and I will tell you this, the will is not really just about distribution of assets. It's even how is your body handled.
Yeah.
So all these stories we've been hearing of my family is fighting with my extended family about where to bury me, and the whole time I'm being kept in a mortuary. My family has to pay for that period 2 months, and the court has not made a decision. You see,
Yeah.
like just that inconvenience. So you can also just have a will where you're just telling us, I want to be cremated, or don't no open casket, all those things. You tell us how to deal with the body. But I was talking about the professionals. So when we get to, so we do what we call the wheel of life with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do so many tests, and we are telling you that at 30, this is where you need to be at 40, and how you slow down over your life cycle. But also, automatically life will slow down, even
Yes,
if
it will,
you
whether you
feel,
want it or
whether you,
not.
yes. And so we are telling you that, okay, yes, as Tara, we can give you all these legal documents. We'll do the power of attorney, we'll do the will. But for you to have a valid will, okay, a valuable, so it's valid but not valuable, because again, there is nothing you're distributing there. Can you have a conversation with a finance advisor?
Yeah.
Can you have a conversation with the investment advisors? Can you have a conversation with all these people? And so we have a group of people who have come together. They are coaches who are, counselors, to just help you, first of all, appreciate why you need to do this, and just leave all your norms and all those wrong myths that you've been having behind, so that you can pave a way forward, but also guide you even as you grow your wealth and assets. That if I want my legacy to have an impact 100 years from now, the money I should be making, or the money I'm making now, will not have that impact that I want to make. And so I have an investment advisor in the room that I can talk to tell me, if you invested here and here and here, those are long-term investments. This is how they're going to play out. This is how the payout will be at the end of the day. And so even as us, the lawyers, are crafting these documents, we are able to take into consideration what the investment advisor has given. Yes. And so the will is not just, oh, these are the properties I have. It's that I have these other ones which will mature maybe on such a date, and they will be applied in a manner like this. And so at Tara, we've championed the what we call TEPA, which is the Estate Planning Association.
Yeah.
And in that association, we have different professionals who are coming together. So we have people with a background of arbitration, because again, we've come to the realization that for many times when there is conflict about, not writing a will or anything like that, the fights are very lengthy when you go to court. And so we have arbitrators coming on board, but also the appreciation of arbitration is that it's not adversarial. It shouldn't leave you more broken than you came in. It should try to bring us together, because at the end of the day, we are a family. That we are having this conversation about the same estate, most likely we are family, or we are so related or friends enough to be having this conversation. And so we have such people. And so we are calling on so many other professionals. If you believe that whatever you offer has an effect on estate planning, then we need you in the room. And so what we are doing is dealing even with the trust issues, because I was explaining to you earlier and telling you, for many of us, we don't trust the people around us. And so I'm unable to even go to a lawyer. I'm like, do you know what the other lawyer did to the other person? You see, they wrote a will and the lawyer did all these things. But now if I'm coming to a group of professionals, there's a level of accountability. Because if my lawyer in this association is unable to give me timely results, maybe as I had expected, then I have someone I can talk to in the association, because they are all to my disposal. And so
accountable to each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Allen, I'm learning a lot. And what I've just picked up now is that if you are not writing a will thinking, I don't have anything, then you should write a will. Then you're the one who should write a will, because a good man will leave an inheritance for his children's children.
Yeah.
You're working, making whatever you're making, but you have nothing to leave your people. then those are the people that should even come to you even faster, right?
Yes, yes.
Allen, we can't finish these scenarios. That's why we should come to the that's why we should come to the symposium.
I know you have to. Conversation.
So when someone comes to the symposium, I was blessed to be there last year.
Yay.
It was half day.
Yeah.
I'm told this year it's a full
Full
day.
day
Is there lunch?
Yes,
there lunch?
of course. The meals are catered for. Yeah, you are sorted in terms of meals, but also a lot
What
of
should
lunch.
we expect?
Amazing, impactful day it will be. So this time round, and you mentioned you were there last time, the feeling was, people had reviews, and that's why this time we are having a full day, because people said, we need a bigger room.
Yes.
We need, it should be a week long. Yes, the reviews were amazing. And so this time round, we have a full day. We'll start off with Tara telling us the why, which is really the conversation of why is it not an option now? In 2026.
Why is it?
It's not you cannot elect not to have. You see, you can't say, me, I will not, I've had, but I will not do it. The things our grandfather got away with, you will not be able to get away with in this year, in 2026. And so we will give you the why you need estate planning and why it's crucial now. Then after that, we have a keynote speaker. That's the ED of NPA, Dr. Joseph Muvala, who will just be telling us where is the government going as a nation. What has the nation planned, you see? And if the nation is planning to go into industrialization, why are you still doing subsistence farming? Yeah. But if you're doing it, what should be your plan? Because yes, I'm doing it now, but shouldn't my plan be to get maybe something from China that helps me add value to this thing? So he's very crucial to this conversation, so that if the country is planning to go left, don't be left on the right.
Especially us who have nothing to write in their will.
Exactly. Right there, you should be able to pick out things that you can work on, even in your current business, or just pick up ideas on what to do, because then you're sure there will be, many times when the government is planning things, there are some incentives, say, with regard to taxes, there's some, incentives that come with it. There could be some monies that you get a hold of just because you're doing something aligned to the government. So we have that. He's the keynote speaker. Then we have the Minister of Lands, who's the guest of honor. The minister is coming to launch TEPA, but also, we know that...
We need a Q&A session with that one.
Yes.
Minister of Lands.
Exactly. We
need a Q&A session with him.
Honorable Judith Nabakova. We are bringing her into the room. But also, it's very crucial to know that as a country, our largest asset base is land. And so, even when you talk about a will, for many people, I don't have land. I've not bought land yet. And so we are bringing the minister because, yes, she's the one in charge of land registration and all, but also trusts are registered under the Ministry of Lands. Trusts are currently registered under the Ministry of Lands. And so just going through, what are the policy changes they have in place, but also encouraging the people in the room that we are here to serve you, to register your trust. Because for many people, they know about wills, but they don't know about trust and how they play out. So we are bringing you the minister, and you're going to...
But Allen, on that one, before you go on,
yes.
If you haven't, please ask her to come with her technocrats.
Okay.
The people who really get the things done, the people who know why my title is unsafe because someone else could be having another one.
Yes.
Let's go on.
Request received. Hopefully, yes, she can adjust her lineup of people. Then after that, we'll have the family panel. So last year we had a family, a father, mother, son. The conversation was amazing. This time we have decided to bring individuals from different families, but who have different stories. And so we have Jafar of Fairway Hotel, took over from his father who had taken over.
Yes, and so he's amazing things with it.
Done an amazing job. He has Coco Beach. He's, had all these things.
I love it.
So that is a very good success story. But also we know that Jafar is an Asian. Somehow those guys seem to have gotten,
together.
Exactly. We do not know how they do it.
We need local content, people who understand our situation.
Yeah, but we also need to learn from people like that.
Yeah.
Like, for them, how was it done differently? Because I will tell you, for the conversations that we have had, people say, oh, I sent my children abroad. They don't want to come back.
Yeah.
But Jafar came from abroad. Yes.
Wow.
And came back. And he's done an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's for us to pick on from that story to see how differently, how did the father, just get him involved? How was he interested? Why did he make the decision to return and run Fairway Hotel? And then we also have Patience Mohanji. Patience Mohanji is a widow of the late Mohanji, rally driver. Left with a huge estate, several aspects in there, but she's been running the business. And so we want to know for the ladies in the room, they want to know, what happens? How did you deal with all these aspects? Did you have, people coming on with children that you didn't know about?
Yeah.
So
your husband's friends, business colleagues, connections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How have you been able to just handle this thing? Because I think he's been late for maybe close to 10 years. So I feel like she's lived through the ups and downs
Enough
for
to
her
be
to
an authority on
an
it,
authority
yes.
on this subject. Yeah. Then we have Patricia Karugawa, Nina Interiors. Patricia took over from the mother. The mother is still alive. And so those dynamics that I was telling you, the vision bearer is there, but you are running the business as a child.
Yes.
So how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
Then we have Don Patrick Bujingo, a young gentleman whose mother passed on, I think, shortly after he had finished school.
Yeah.
So young, with so many, younger siblings. And now, usually the confidence parents who have girls have is, my girls are, with girls you can trust. I've had this over and over.
Yes.
Not because I'm saying anything about you, Solomon, or the gentlemen listening. Yeah. But there is always, I think there is a level of trust when it's girls left in the mix. But now we have Don Patrick, who took over from the mother, and he's done an amazing job. He's done awesomely. Yeah. So we are listening to that story. Then after that, we'll have we had the minister. Yeah. So then after that, we'll have the lunch break and then come back with a panel of experts.
Yeah.
So you have had the stories from a widow, from someone who's taken over, third generation, all these people. But how do we put these things into concrete, tangible things? Like, I've had the stories, maybe I've related with some of them, but how do I forge a way forward? So on that aspect, we have a financial literacy person who's just teaching you of, if you find yourself at this stage and there's nothing to leave in your estate plan, or there is not, this is how you move forward. Then we have legal, of course, because everything is there is a legal
Starts
aspect.
and ends with
Everything you do. Even this conversation has several legal aspects. So. Yeah, so we have legal on that panel. Then we have ICEA, the insurance company, coming onto that panel. Then we have KPMG for tax. And these guys are crucial because for many people, it's how do I avoid double taxation? Because I have made these assets, but remember, from monies that I already paid taxes on. Yeah. So if I place them under trust, I'm running them in a certain way, how do I? So KPMG is coming into the room to give you the aspects of taxation that you need to take into consideration while estate planning. And then we have Knight Frank. So because again, real estate is one of the biggest.
It's a big aspect of this whole.
And it will be interactive, and you'll engage with these people. There will be breakout sessions. So from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., we shall be at Arirang.
It's a full-day affair.
Full-day affair for just 250,000.
Wow, Allen. On 16th.
16th.
Of July. Wow.
Thursday.
Allen, something keeps coming back to me. You mentioned something about the will not only being about distributing what you left behind or what you didn't leave behind, but also on how your body is handled.
Yes.
Typically, we know that the will is read after you have been buried. So how does that work? Is there a version that is read?
Surely what you have watched in the movies is that the will is read after Yeah.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because again, I don't want to know what I've been given.
Yeah.
Like I'm dealing with this death.
Yeah.
That's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
But I shared a story of Joseph. The very day, because I think it was Joseph passed on a Saturday. Sunday is when we received a phone call to ask for the will. Yeah, because at that point, if it's established that there's an element on how I need to be handled, my body needs to be handled, then it's dealt with. But also the stories that we've had of people going to court for a month, for 3 months, for several months, for them to determine where to bury. At that point, if you had written a will, it would come out. Yes. So they won't have to hold your body for several months. So it would deal with that conflict and tear the family apart just because one person says he needs to go to his ancestral grounds, or another person is saying, no, but this was his home, bury
Or a
him.
wife who said, me, I want to be buried at my father's home, but culture dictates you go to your
All-
husband's.
Exactly. Now, all those things are dealt with. And so the will is supposed to be, because it comes into play upon death. So if the announcement is made, what time is it? 9:01. Yes. And they say she has passed. The will is supposed to come into play.
in.
Yes.
Wow.
So everything after that, it's just because many times they do not know where to find that will, or the lawyer will only learn about it 3-4 hours later. And so they're able to say, oh, but I have a copy of the will. But also the will is supposed to, the contents therein shouldn't be known by several people.
No.
So until the person dies, then I open it and realize, oh, they told us how to handle the body. That's when we handle your body in that way. Yeah. So again, it's for people to know, number one, if you're alive and well, you just keep mentioning of my will is at Tara, or
I know.
or wherever your
Yes,
lawyers are,
yes.
or whoever you've chosen to give your will to. It could be your bankers, so that upon your demise, your family is able to then say or release that will, so that we know how to handle going forward.
I have to tell our viewers and listeners that just because you've watched this episode does not qualify you to write a will. So you have to
No, it
come for
doesn't.
the estate planning
Yes,
symposium,
yes.
engage Tara advocates, and do it the proper way. But one last question weighing heavy on my heart. How do we drag our parents into the room?
Wow, that's an interesting one.
Because they
Yes.
probably need to hear
Yes.
this more than we do.
Yes, pay for them. Pay for them, and then we'll give you a beautiful ticket, like a gift voucher.
Yes.
Where you go
I
tell
am
them
gifting
I'm
you this
gifting-
one
Yes.
from me to you.
Yes, but
You will thank me later.
yes, but I know for sure that I know for sure that it becomes tricky for you to sell something that you've not experienced.
Yeah.
So if it is hard for you to get your parents in the room, please come into the room. Yeah. Come experience it, so that when you're telling them, I've had to do this and this and this, and my life has changed because of this experience. So next year they will come, because it doesn't end this year. It's an annual symposium, but it will be better for you to sell something you've experienced. So if you talk to them, because I know for sure it can be a tricky conversation.
Yeah.
You are telling your mother, you need to come so that you plan for when you're, and they're thinking, man, already
You really want me
you-
to go so
want-
fast?
Exactly. You're interested. I've been seeing the way you look at my house. Yes. So it's usually very tricky.
Delicate,
but
yes.
but I promise, when you experience it and you do all these things, then you talk about them with them, then
What you
it
have
becomes
done,
yes,
then
it
they will be
becomes
challenged to put things
yes,
together.
it becomes easy for you.
Allen,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I know it's a crazy week.
Yes, it is.
Just a few days to the symposium.
Yeah.
Your calendar is really fixed. It has taken me days, if not weeks, to get Allen to sit here. So I'm not going to keep her for long. Please show up on Thursday, 16th July, Arirang Hotel, 3rd floor, the new block. That's where we shall be.
Yes.
And let's spend a whole day of learning. Until the next episode of... but before I close, Allen, do you have a parting shot for our viewers and listeners? Just one last line.
See you at the symposium.
I wouldn't do better than that. Until the next episode of Business Chronicles, I'll see you then.